Abiding faith, faith that has life-giving staying power, is faith in the good news of God, the gospel. And what exactly is that? Well, Paul gives us a handy summary here. Christ died and was buried, then he was raised from the dead and appeared alive to many. That's the short summary. It's the subject of our faith more than the object of it. What we believe, that makes all the difference. But let's look closer. Christ died and was buried. Our faith begins with an acceptance of death, not a denial of it. At its heart, sin is rooted in attempts to live as though we can avoid dying. We gird ourselves against pain and suffering. We guard ourselves against loss. The great revelation we see in the Christ story is that there is good news at the heart of reality in the most unlikely place, at the grave. Death, it turns out, is the gateway to life, not the enemy of it. The comedian Stephen Colbert is the host of Late Night with Stephen Colbert. Cleverly named, don't you know? Anyway, on a recent program, the pop singer Dua Lipa was a guest. She commented on why people relate to Stephen's comedy so well, and he wondered why, and she said, because of there's something authentic about you and honest when you talk about your faith. So would you say a few words about that? Which he did. He said that as a Christian and a Catholic, he believes that love and sacrifice are somehow related. Giving yourself to other people, and that death is not defeat. He said that sadness is a little bit of an emotional death, but not a defeat if you can find a way to laugh about it, because that laughter keeps you from having fear of it. And that's the thing that keeps you from turning to evil devices to save you from it. And then he said this, no matter what happens, you are never defeated. You must find some way to see suffering and death in the light of eternity and find some way to love and laugh with each other. So who knew we needed a comedian to tell us about faith? But think about what he said in light of what the Apostle Paul said. We have faith that death does not defeat us. And that saves us from the compulsion to look out for ourselves alone, even at the expense of others. And this is the essence of sin, see? All the commandments boil down to this. So faith in this good news of death being defeated frees us to love and to sacrifice for others the way Jesus did. The resurrection of Jesus from the dead is a sign of God's vindication of the way of love being the way to life. God's laws given to Israel amount to this way of love being the way to life. It takes faith to believe that living this way will have lasting significance, significance that doesn't end when we end. Death always looms ahead of us, and most people think of it as a door that closes on life. But now we can think of it as a door that opens to life. Now, God didn't raise Jesus from the dead as a one-off show of divine power to help kickstart a new religion called Christianity. God raised Jesus from the dead to reveal to us the power of love that is at work always at the heart of reality. which means that when we live a faithful life of sacrificial love as Jesus did, we share in his resurrection life even now. We are freed from the fear of death in all its forms so that we can love and serve one another without worry about the future. The German theologian and martyr Dietrich Bonhoeffer called Jesus the man for others. And that's how Jesus revealed the character of God. The God of Israel and the God of Christians is not a God that remains aloof from the world, but a God who hears the cries of those who suffer in the world and enters into it to bear that in love. Anytime and every time, then, that we do that ourselves, we are showing that we have the kind of faith that Paul says abides.